In this video, we'll look at whether copper 2 sulfate, that's CuSO4, is ionic or covalent. The short answer is this is an ionic compound overall, but within this compound, this sulfate ion, the bonds between the sulfur and the oxygen atoms, those are covalent bonds. On the periodic table, copper right here is a metal, and then sulfur and oxygen, those are nonmetals. So when we have metal and nonmetals, it's going to be an ionic compound. Because it's an ionic compound, we really should look at the charge on each of the ions. So copper is a transition metal. We really can't tell just looking at this compound. We need to look at what it's bonded to. It's bonded to the sulfate ion. This is a polyatomic ion. So this entire ion here, sulfate ion, good one to remember, has a 2- charge. The copper, therefore, that has to have a 2+ ionic charge. That's why it's called copper 2. Because we have these opposite charges, the positive copper ion and the negative sulfate ion, they're attracted and they form that ionic bond. Let's talk briefly, though, about the sulfate ion. So we said sulfur, that's a nonmetal, and then oxygen, we said that's also a nonmetal. So we have a nonmetal plus a nonmetal, we end up with a covalent bond. This is also called a molecular bond. So the bond between the sulfur and oxygen atoms, those bonds, they are going to be covalent bonds. But overall, the bond between the copper, positive copper 2 ion, and the sulfate ion, the negative ion, those are going to make up an ionic compound. So CuSO4 is an ionic compound with covalent bonds in the polyatomic ion. This is Dr. B, and thanks for watching.